Good afternoon, children. This is my third video on our chapter Strategies for Enhancement in Food Production. In my previous explanation, I had discussed about plant tissue culture, that is the definition, the technique, and the procedure of solid or the liquid culture. Then we talked about the types of sterilization techniques and the regeneration of plantlets. Today, our new topic will be applications of tissue culture. Now, in your textbook, they are given some 7 applications, children. I like to show you, and I'll also like to emphasize that not all applications are in your course. So please see this. I am at page number 521. This is showing applications of tissue culture in a crop improvement, right? And it shows some 7 applications. In your course, children, there are only 4. So the third, fourth, and fifth one you do not have to do. All right. So here I have a very detailed and a clear picture of how to do the things. Now, what is tissue culture, children? We have seen it last time that in the process which started in the year 1902, right, a small portion of the plant body is taken. That could be the root tip, shoot tip, bud, or the petiole or anther, ovule, anything. And then it is directly transferred to a nutrient medium with calculated amount of nutrients, growth hormones, etc. And what we develop is a mass of tissue or unorganized cell mass. We can say it callus. Soon this is subcultured like this, and tiny miniature plantlets did develop out of the same, and they certainly have better value of the desired characters chosen, right? They're disease free, etc. So today we are going to talk about the applications or the uses of this tissue culture and how it is aimed at crop improvement. All right. So there are 7 as I told you. The first is micro propagation. This is in your course. The colored one in a box is in your course. Second is production of disease-free plants. This is also in your course, children. The third is not to be studied. The anther culture you don't have to do. Fourth, embryo culture also is not to be studied. Fifth, the introduction of new mutations is not mentioned in your syllabus, so please don't study it. The sixth is introduction of soma clonal variations. That is, what are soma clones and how are they useful? It is to be studied. And the seventh, that is protoplast technology and somatic cell hybridization, is very much in your syllabus and it's an important topic. So to begin with, I'm sure you're very clear with what you have to study as per the syllabus. That is, out of these 7, 1, 2, 3 and 4. The ones that are closed in boxes you have to study very detailed form. The rest 3 do not have to study, right? Now let us start with the first one, that is micro propagation. The term micro means small, right? Very small or small. Whereas propagate means to grow. So it means by definition that the propagation or multiplication, vegetative multiplication of plants through tissue culture for agriculture, horticulture and forestry is called as micropropagation. That means, look at this tissue culture only. To make a new plant which is big enough, you're using a very small portion of some plant tissue or plant tip of the bud or the, let's say, the shoot tip or the shoot bud, etc. You're taking a very small quantity and growing it into callus and then a big tree that will be in future. So this propagation through tissue culture for agriculture, horticulture and forestry is called micropropagation. What is horticulture? It is the practice of growing flowers, fruits and vegetables. Then why is it having an upper hand or an advantage? Micropropagation, number one, it is very fast process. Normally a tree which takes months or years to grow into a full-fledged tree will be much faster obtained by micropropagation, and the plants and the technique is highly productive, right? The plants are obtained in a much shorter time, right? Then micropropagation is of a lot of advantage. Before we come to soma clones, let us talk about the advantages of micropropagation. Number one, first I told you, provides rapid multiplication, very fast. Second, a large number of offsprings or plantlets are obtained every year. See, normally by tissue culture techniques, there are more number of plantlets that can be obtained than compared to the conventional cutting techniques, right? Third is progeny. That means the new generation or the children born to those parents, they are obtained in millions. Fourth, cloning can be done throughout the year in a very small space under controlled conditions. So we don't require large and huge tracts of land and obviously some very typical conditions. All we need is small area and controlled conditions. Fifth, offsprings can be of sterile plants or of rare hybrids of extraordinary characters. Example, oil palm. Sterile means, children, which cannot reproduce. Suppose there are plant species which are sterile. That means they cannot give rise to new generation. So those plants also can be grown by micropropagation. So these are the advantages. All right. Now let us talk about a new term to be introduced, soma clones. Now see, soma means the vegetative cell of a plant body except from the reproductive part. That means leaving the anther, that is the stamen, and the carpel, that is male and female part of the flower, leaving them, any cell will be called as a somatic cell. So clone means to propagate. So the plants grown by micropropagation are genetically identical and are called soma clones. So that means directly, in this case, like whatever are the genes of this explant, the plant part to be used in tissue culture will be exactly the genes of the new plant to be generated. This is what you want to tell, right? So because there is no sexual reproduction, so therefore no genetic variations that are possible, and such plants grown, they are called soma clones. Then micropropagation is done by following methods. The first is multiple shootlet production, and the second is somatic embryogenesis. The first one, let us see, multiple shootlet production. In this, the shoot tips are used for the tissue culture, right? And they are used to raise mini plants. The shoot tips in the culture medium produce multiple buds, and each bud grows into an individual shoot. Later, some rooting hormones are introduced and they induce root production. So very simple, children. Once again, the shoot tips are used into the culture. That means here the explant will be only the shoot tips. Then they produce multiple buds and each bud grows into an individual shoot. Later the root is introduced by the rooting hormone. Example, almonds, banana, potato, etc. Coming to somatic embryogenesis. Now what does it mean, children? Look at this diagram first. Somatic embryo. Embryo means a baby plant. Like suppose this is a baby plant consisting of a plumule and radicle. So if you grow the same by the tissue culture from a somatic cell, just now I told you, any cell except the reproductive parts of the plant body, right? This embryo will be called as a somatic embryo, and this production is called as somatic embryogenesis. Once again, the embryos developed from single somatic cell by tissue culture is called somatic embryo or embryoid, right? Because this is formed directly from a somatic cell. Normally the embryos are formed in a seed, right, after fertilization that has taken place. But here without it, only from the vegetative cell, the embryoid is formed, which is also called as somatic embryo. All right. So this is all about the first point, that is micropropagation. Once again, in the topic, definition of what is micropropagation, then definition of what is a soma clone, advantages of micropropagation, and how it is done, that is 2 types of methods. The second, we are coming to the second application, that is production of disease-free plants. Now, in today's scenario, the fields that are full of lot of germs, that is pathogens for plant varieties, this production of disease-free plants is going to be of a great benefit for the agriculture industry. So let us say, first compare the upper part here, that is, it's showing vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation, we know, children, using roots, bulbs, tubers, etc. for vegetative multiplication, right? In this case, normally the pathogens are also transmitted. That is, suppose you're going to grow a new potato plant and you've used a piece of tuber along with the eyes and the buds. In that case, the new potato plant will definitely have this pathogen infested over here, and it will be transmitted to the offspring. But benefit of tissue culture is, suppose this is the tissue culture, our current topic that we are studying here. In this case, suppose this is the potato plant and you have used the shoot tip even of an infected plant. This whole plant is infected. But if you have used the shoot tip and you have multiplied or raised the plant by tissue culture, the plants will be free of pathogen. So what a great benefit compared to the previous one. Here 100% plant will be infested with pathogen. But here, even if we know that the plant is diseased or having the germ, the new planted will be disease free. This has been seen very successful in potato, strawberry, sugarcane, etc. Alright, so that's all about the second topic. Very small this is, right? Production of disease-free plants. Then, as I told you, children, the third, fourth and fifth topic, you don't have to study anything. I'll show you what. This is page number 522 and 23. Here it's given about anther culture. Please don't study. Embryo culture. Last year it was there, but not this year. And then introduction of new mutations, etc. You will not study at all. This introduction of soma clonal variations, yes, but only little amount is given, only this, and here there are 2 more lines. So let us see what is soma clonal variation. Just now I told you, children, what are soma clones. Soma clones are plants grown by micropropagation. They're genetically identical and are called soma clones, right? Now soma clonal variations, right? If we talk, these are genetic variations that are seen in plants raised from callus by tissue culture. That means, suppose this is an explant and you're going to use it for tissue culture, then what variation or changes will you see between the parent and the new plant? That will be called as soma clonal variation, right? If these variations are of economic value, then they may be introduced for tolerance for herbicides or various diseases, pests, environmental stresses, etc. Right? Then later on they are multiplied. Nowadays they've been very successfully seen in potato. Imagine potato, children, we know is a very good source of starch. But today we have potato with high protein content. So that's a gift of soma clonal variation. Tomatoes, which have been increased for their shelf life, right? They can be preserved in the refrigerators for a longer lifespan, 10 to 15 days especially. Wheat, which has been resistant to rust disease and tolerant to high temperatures, they have been obtained. And rice, which is resistant to leaf hoppers and tungro virus. Tungro virus is a dangerous virus for the disease, for the rice plants, and causes diseases. But this is all possible because of soma clonal variations. Alright, coming to the last of the applications. So just now, first is done. Micropropagation, production of disease-free plants is done. And the sixth one is also done, that is introduction of soma clonal variations. Here only this part was there. Coming to the last, that is protoplast technology and somatic cell hybridization. This is very important, children. First, what is protoplast? Suppose this is a plant cell. This is a plant cell. We know the outer is cell wall and the inner is cell membrane. We have shown you by 2 colors. The orange part is the region between cell membrane and cell wall, and this purplish part is the protoplast. So how it is protoplast obtained is, We can say it is the naked plant cell. Protoplast by definition means naked plant cells whose cell wall has been removed. Now cell wall, children, which is made up of cellulose, we know it, right? So imagine if this is removed from the plant cell, the outer part is removed. And how can we remove it? By certain enzymes called cellulases. They dissolve the cell wall, cellulose, right? And another one which is called as pectinases, and this removes the pectin that could be present. So that naked substance that is left over without the cell wall will be called as protoplast. Now, how can it be isolated? From which plant part? It can be isolated from the leaves, callus, you know, children, the unorganized cell mass of tissue culture, suspension cultures, and from pollen grains. They can be all made from these plant materials, right? Now, it's useful. The protoplast culture, why should somebody do this job? Remove the cell wall and obtain protoplast for what? This is used very importantly for a process called somatic cell hybridization. You know, suppose two plant cells have to be fused. Suppose this is one plant cell and this is another plant cell, and you want to fuse them. The fusion is very, very difficult because of the rigid cell wall. So this nucleus and this nucleus, if you have to fuse, then the first step is to remove the cell wall. And for the very purpose, we obtain the protoplast. So the next process is to understand why this protoplast has been obtained. It has been obtained for a process called somatic cell hybridization, for which we obtain hybrids called somatic hybrids. Understand this. A hybrid that is produced, suppose these are two genetically different somatic cells, vegetative cells of two varieties, species or genera, right? For example, understand this first. Tomato protoplast can be fused into potato protoplast, and the outcome would be pomato. I don't know whether you've heard this or not. It's a very recent edition. The year is 1978. That is something between tomato and potato. The offspring generated is called as pomato. Then brinjal fused with tomato. In that case, it will be braurato. So that is a mixture of brinjal and tomato into braurato. How could this be possible? It could be possible only because of this technique called a somatic cell hybridization. One cell of potato, the other cell of tomato. They have been brought to this form of naked protoplast and they have been fused. Why fused? So that we can obtain the somatic hybrid. Because they were genetically different. They could be of two different varieties. They could be the different species or different genera. Alright, and such a hybrid is called as somatic hybrid. In plants, this is achieved by protoplast fusion. Right? If I show you in your textbook diagram, this is page number 524, it is this. Look at this. This is the somatic cell hybridization. Step 1, what is done, children? This is a normal plant cell. The first thing is, by making it to be acted by enzymes, cellulase and pectinase, the cell wall is removed. What you get in hand is only the plasma lemma or cell membrane. That's the outer limit. That means the cell wall has been removed. Look at this. Cell wall was present, but here there is no cell wall. Right? Now, two such protoplasts, let's say these are parent protoplasts A and B, they are allowed to fuse, cell fusion. And then first what you see is the cytoplasm fusing, later what you see is the nucleus fusing, and finally what you get is somatic hybrid. Right? So this can be obtained in three ways. I hope you've understood, children. Before we move further, I have started with applications of tissue culture. The first page I have explained, and the second page we have completed. Moving to this part of somatic cell hybridization, there are three types of somatic hybrids. Three types. Look at this diagram and you will understand. The first is we call as symmetric somatic hybrids. Second is asymmetric somatic hybrids, and the third is cytoplasmic hybrids. Look at them. The diagram is defining the process itself. Symmetric somatic hybrids mean complete fusion of both nuclei and cytoplasm. Look at this diagram, children. The cytoplasm is completely fusing, and even the nuclei of both the plant cell bodies, they are fusing. Such a complete fusion is called as symmetric or uniform hybrid. Alright, so this is complete fusion of nuclei and cytoplasm. Right? The opposite one, just the opposite, let us come to this one, cytoplasmic hybrids. Look at this. In such a hybrid, cytoplasm has fused, correct, but the nuclei are still intact, right? They have not fused at all. So what does this explain? Nuclei remains unfused, but the cytoplasm has fused. Therefore, we call such hybrids as cytoplasmic hybrids. Moving to the third type, where we have asymmetric hybrids. Asymmetric means there is no geometrical symmetry of fusion. In this, cytoplasm, no problem, it's completely fused. But when it comes to nuclei, one nuclear genome is intact, that is normal, but the other is seen in small pieces or fragments. So such a fusion is called as asymmetric. That means here it was very much symmetric. Things were proportionate. Complete nucleus fusing with another complete nucleus and complete cytoplasm with another cytoplasm. Here, cytoplasm is alright, but when it comes to nuclear fusion, it is definitely asymmetric, a complete nucleus fusing with fragments, and therefore it is asymmetric somatic hybrid. Alright, moving to the applications of somatic cell hybridization. Applications means the uses. The first is production of hybrids between species that cannot be produced by sexual hybridization. That is, just now I told you, this is possible into those plants which cannot be sexually possible. That means pollination can be done, but fertilization not possible between tomato and potato, but we can produce pomato. Right? Second is gene transfer and formation of transgenic plants. What is transgene, children? Let's understand. Transgene means something like this. The cell protoplast is obtained first by removal of cell wall, and there is a gene of foreign desired quality that is inserted by genetic engineering methods. Such a gene which is inserted is called as a transgene. And when it is introduced into the cell protoplast of the organism, such an organism is called as transgenic organism. So this is another advantage, that gene transfer and production of transgenic plants. Third, cytoplasm can be transferred. You saw how the transfer of cytoplasm can be brought. Then production of allotetraploids. This word is not explained in your book, children. Allotetraploid means a hybrid that has chromosome number 4 times than that of a haploid organism. Right? 4 times. Normally, whatever the hybrid has a number will be 4 times of what? The haploid organism. I hope you differentiate between haploid, that means the N condition, right? So if in humans, though this is, we are talking of plants, just to explain, in humans if it is 23, then 23 into 4 will be the allotetraploid number. Alright? Then moving to the fifth application of somatic cell hybridization, which I've explained under the same, was production of transgenic plant. And I told you what is a transgene? Inserted into the cell protoplast by genetic engineering, and such an organism will be called as transgenic organism. Right? So transgenic plants, they are of lot of value today in agricultural practices. Then the sixth point is obtaining clones. Now in this case, clones, we can use protoplasts which are grown to obtain clones, and they can be used for various genetic manipulations and experimentations. Then clone selection. Clones derived from cell protoplasts, especially leaf cell protoplasts, they are selected to give rise to plants with useful characters. So that completes the applications of somatic cell hybridization. Once again, children, I've explained 3 pages today. That is, all comes under application of tissue culture, and we have explained the same into 4 headings. Micropropagation, first point. Then the second was disease-free plants. Here I have this much. The production from here till here, disease-free plants. Then the third was introduction of somaclonal variations, which is here at the top, and definition of somaclone I have already given here. And coming to the last was protoplast technology and somatic cell hybridization. It begins here. Protoplast culture, somatic cell hybridization, and then types of somatic hybrids and applications. That is why it is important. Remember children, the other points very clearly I have told you, you do not have to do at all. That is anther culture, embryo culture, or introduction of new mutations. With that, we complete everything concerned with the plant hybridization, because in my next video, I will start with the animal husbandry, right? And that will complete the chapter. So this was my third video. Please get ready. I am sending you 3 pages. Number 1, 2 and 3. Make up your notes children. Read the textbook pages all under the applications given at page number 520. This is what you have to study. 521. Then 522. This entire portion is removed children. I told you anther culture and embryo culture. Right? Even 523 is removed till here. But it begins from here. Right? And then we talked about the advantages up till 525. Alright, so that's all for today children. Any queries, please send in your doubts and make up your 3 pages of writing just now as I am sending. Thank you.